Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to The Drive. My name is Joe Mertens, and we have a special podcast here today as I interviewed with defensive tackle for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Dre'mont Jones. And in this podcast, we did discuss, what the come-up was for Dre and, what his thoughts on the NFL draft were and just some of the things that, has made him a much better player at the Ohio State University. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, I'm with defensive lineman for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Dre'mont Jones. First, Dre, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing great, Dre. And, first to kick things off, how's the team looking after spring ball?
I mean, we're looking solid. We're looking great. So I'm really excited for this upcoming season, and I'm not really worried about anything that's going to happen with the season.
So, Dre, past the draft, you witnessed a few of your teammates get taken in the first round. Lattimore, Conley, and Hooker all went in the first round. What was it like seeing these guys find their place on an NFL team?
Oh, it was exciting to see them. I mean, it was just like family going into the NFL because I know those guys so personally. I know how they are, I know how they act, I know what they do on a regular basis. So it was just kind of cool seeing your friends going to that next level.
Yeah, absolutely exciting to see those guys reach the NFL level. And Dre, what has the training been like with the Buckeyes, and what was their main emphasis to work on coming into your freshman year?
Well, first their main emphasis was me to get stronger. I had the speed, I had that athletic ability, so me getting quicker, it's almost not much of a problem for me. My biggest issue is the weight room, and I had to get evolve to that and understanding the process of getting stronger and learning how to train. So,
Dre, let me take you back to March 2015, a high school basketball playoff game for St. Ignatius. You come down awkwardly on your leg, you get the MRI, and the results come back that you torn your ACL. Dre, we hear so much about how difficult it is recovering from an ACL injury. Can you explain what the recovery process was like for you and what kept you motivated getting through that injury?
The process was extremely tough. It was one of the hardest things I'd ever get through in my life. I mean, I've never been injured like that before, ever. So this is my first really setback as a person and as a player. So I had to really evaluate me personally at a personal level. It took a lot of trial and error, but the thing that kept me motivated was not settling for that curse that everyone tried to put on our school, and having a want to be better and to make a name for myself at Ohio State. So
yeah, you mentioned the curse. I mean, in recent years with St. Ignatius, we saw these players go into Ohio State and injury plagued them. They weren't able to perform in the way that we normally see them at the high school level. But, this past season with Ohio State, Dre, we saw you, immensely step up. So, what was the transition like from playing high school ball into college ball? I know it's definitely a much different experience, but what is that transition like?
I mean, it's a totally different monster. It's literally going from crawling to walking at the football level.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to get acclimated because, one, I was coming off an ACL injury. I mean, I wasn't comfortable in the system yet, and I found out I'm changing positions.
Yeah.
So it took a long time for me just to learn and become a student of the game again because I was clueless. I mean, I couldn't walk and talk. I mean, I had to watch from past guys and guys that are there now, so I can introduce myself into that world and become a dominant player.
Right. And through your freshman year with the Buckeyes, obviously you redshirted your freshman year, but this past season, what were the takeaways that you took your freshman year when you were on the sideline, and what were the things that you took away from that came into the 2016 season, that the summer beforehand where you're training and all that before the season started? What were those takeaways that you had on the bench during freshman year?
That wasn't much I could take away because I didn't know.
Right.
So I didn't really start to grasp it until after the season of me watching film with Coach Johnson, and then having the older guys help me out so I can understand the position and understand football at a higher state level.
We jump into the 2016 season. You mentioned in an article in 2017 that one of your happiest moments was in your first collegiate game with Bowling Green. You were able to get in. What was it like getting your first action at the shoe, and what nerves did you have playing in your first game?
I was extremely nervous. I mean, I can be honest with you. Like, I wasn't comfortable being in that position. I mean, I feel like the whole world was watching me.
Right,
I feel like I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard for me to, like, stay focused. But I was also really excited at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you stepped up in big ways in the 2016 season, Dre. As your teammate Tracy Sprinkle went down with a season-ending injury in that Bowling Green game, you were the next man up. You were called upon. You would become the sixth on the team in tackles with 52. What was the feeling like knowing that you had to step up for that defense, and how were you able to adjust as a starter on the defensive line?
I mean, when I saw Tracy go down, it was a click in my mind that I need to grow. I need to become a lot more mature than I already am. And I need to learn how to become the D tackle they need us to be, need me to be. So I just reverted back to what I was taught for the past, from April until August, those are the toughest months for football. I revert back to that training in the summer and try to apply it to the field. And it was tough initially because one of my friends went down, and I'm just like, man, I don't know if I can do this, but no, I had to grow up and understand this is my moment right now, and I have to take it.
Right, yeah, completely, man. And you did that in that 2016 season, and moving on to from you were rated from high school as a 4-star defensive end, and you mentioned this, changing positions. You were changed into the defensive tackle role. I remember the last time you played that position, Dre, and it came in your sophomore year in high school. And OSU has been known to convert the ends. Larry Johnson will convert the ends into the tackle positions. I recently remember Adolphus Washington was converted from the defensive end position to the defensive tackle. And was there any major adjustment that you had to make on the line? And does Coach Larry Johnson plan on keeping you at the defensive tackle position?
I'm definitely saying at defensive tackle for sure, but college-wise, I am for sure. But I had to really with our defense, the defensive tackle has to do a lot, from taking on double teams and experiencing out blocks, experiencing pass plays, because everything's so much tighter, everything's quicker, everything's a lot faster than DN. So when you see something, you have to react fast.
Right.
Everything is 10 times faster than a DN because you're not given as much space. So I had to become smarter. So I had to be able to learn how to read the guards, read the center, read the tackle, so I can be able to make a play and help the team out. But at the same time, about trying to make a play, I have to do my job.
Right. Dre, this past season, you were able to play in your first bowl game. Never mind it being a college football semifinal. What was the experience like playing Clemson?
That was one of the craziest games I've ever played in my life. I mean, that was a NFL pro-type team right there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all surreal, talented dudes, and I was really sad that we lost, but at the same time, I was happy with my performance. I thought I played pretty well in that game. So
yeah.
I was glad I was able to prove myself at a high stage like that. So.
Dre, what was the biggest adversity that you have had to overcome so far with the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Season-wise, I would have to say trying to learn the defense and how we play it, and learn the three-tech position. I mean, because I didn't start to get comfortable truly until after the Oklahoma games.
Dre, social media is such a big part in today's world. However, with positives, but there's also many negatives. You see some college athletes have social media affect them in a negative way, and it may also hurt their draft stock. So, Dre, what are your views on social media, and how do you kind of just avoid, all of the, the talk, all the, noise outside of it, and just making sure that you play your game?
I'm just being smart, knowing what to say, what not to say. I mean, you can't be ridiculous on social media because stuff like that doesn't go away. I mean,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure they can find tweets from 8 years ago
Mm-hmm.
with ease. So, I mean, I just stay off of it. I mean, nothing wrong with being on it, but don't go crazy. Don't say ridiculous stuff. I mean, it's just social media. You don't need to be on it that much anyway.
Yeah.
Social media is just a platform
Mm-hmm.
just to get your name out there. It's not something like personal. Like nothing on social media I take serious.
Yeah.
I take it serious, but I don't let it affect me.
Right.
It's just something fun.
And, you know,
It's like a video game.
A lot of athletes can, you know, learn off of that from you, Dre. I mean, you know, we see from you don't really, I mean, you've got a Twitter, but you don't really post that much. You kind of just stay off of it.
Right. I mean, keep your mouth shut. I mean, we're not professionals. We're amateur athletes. I mean, we're trying to make it to the next level. I mean, they look for anything to not draft you and not pay you.
Right.
So I'm not trying to be that guy that does something on social media that I regret.
And, you know, speaking you know, of drafts, you know, the past draft just happened with the 2017 draft. You know, you might have saw this Bleacher Report article, Dre, on May 1st it came out. It was the 2018 NFL mock draft. Now, I've never been a fan of these articles, but I was excited to see your name on the list. Matt Miller predicts that you go in the first round, 22 overall, to the Carolina Panthers. Now, Dre, way too early to talk about your draft stock, obviously. There's still a lot of work to be done. But after witnessing a few of your teammates, as we mentioned earlier, get taken in the first round, does the feeling start to sink in that the reality of playing in the NFL can come true?
I mean, I can say yes. I mean, NFL is not too far-fetched. That's all I can say about it, really. I mean, I was excited to see it. It's just an article. I mean,
right, yeah.
It's just one of many reporters. I mean, it wasn't a big platform like Bleacher Report. I was excited about that, but it was more so like, you know, a video game. It was fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cool, he said my name. I'm glad he mentioned me. I mean, of course I was stoked. I was tripping out about it, but like, at the same time, like, I still got a job to do.
Right, yeah.
I can easily lose that spot in his mind.
Yeah.
After that season, if I don't do my job and don't play how I'm supposed to play, how I know how to play.
Now, lastly, Jay, a little bit more of a fun question. You know, I know you're a Cleveland Browns fan. What are your takeaways from this year's draft for them, and are you happy that the Browns chose a Michigan player?
No comment on him. I'm glad. I'm proud. I'm proud of you. I'm actually really happy he got drafted. I mean, that's another one of us displaying our name, showing that football players are more than just football players.
Right.
They
Yeah.
do it all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad he got drafted. Congratulations to him.
Yeah. He's a player that you saw in high school, Dre. I mean, you played against him. You also played against him this season against Michigan. So, you know, it's fantastic seeing these guys, you know, although they're your rivals, you know, to see players on that level to end up making it to the next. The takeaway is, you know, it's great. But are you a fan of this draft for the Browns? Looking forward, do you think they're going to be?
I'm a fan of what?
Are you a fan of the Browns with the 2017 draft? Do you think they did a nice job?
Yeah, I'm proud of the Browns. I mean, anything to have a city going forward. I mean, I just want the Browns to win.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I just want them to win a playoff for one time. I'm 20 years old. Just make it.
I think we can all agree with that, Dre. So, Dre, thank you so much for your time. It's been good hearing from you. Best of luck to you and the Buckeyes this upcoming season. You know, we're all pulling for you. Hopefully I talk to you again soon. So thanks a lot, Dre.
Thank you. No problem.
All right, that was defensive tackle Dre'mont Jones for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I want to thank him very much for calling in and getting an interview here on this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed this podcast, as Dre'mont is definitely going to be a name to reckon with here in the upcoming season. Had a huge 2016 season. As I mentioned in the podcast, he was 6th in tackles on the defense, so he really stepped up at last season, and definitely expect more of that in this 2017 season coming up. So I want to thank him very much for calling me in today. It's always good hearing from Dre'mont, and hopefully the Buckeyes can get it done in the 2017 season. So thank you for tuning in to The Drive. I'm Joe Mertens, and go Bucks.